Hello everyone, I'm Antonella Vassallo and welcome to the English version of CTS Noticias 7-day newscast. Let's have a look at this week's top stories. Young Sicilians deserve more than migrating, unstable employment and jobs off the books. The 1st of May was to be a celebration of honest, qualified, and let's also add, well-paid employment. This was the union Will's plea for the holiday on the 1st of May, the celebration of workers. There are officially 250,000 unemployed Sicilians, but according to Svimed's last report, the number should reach 600,000. This means that only 1 in 4 Sicilians has a job. The situation on the island is dramatic, and this year there was little to celebrate on the 1st of May. Will's General Secretary Claudio Barone states, "For the 1st of May, we say enough to the politics which destroys employment. We're calling on whomever wants to change and value this region's resources for a real development project." Barone also says, "The layoffs in Sicily have sprung. From 2010 to 2011, the hours went from 22 to 26 million, and this year they're continuing to rise, with 9.5 million already in the first trimester. There are more and more companies suffering, and Minister Fornero's recipe would have devastating effects under these conditions. In cutting social absorbers' resources, workers will be fired instead of being laid off, and companies will be obliged to reconsider or close. The job offers will decrease, and the army of the desperate will increase. The national government had committed itself to use the resources regained from the fight against tax evasion to reduce employee taxes, but they had second thoughts, so the economy is still on hold." Will's leader continues, "In the meantime, the European Community's funds haven't been spent. The construction field is collapsing, with 80% less notices of public procurement compared to last year. We're not going anywhere with these numbers. We must restart development and create new employment opportunities." The municipal police has adopted strict measures against vehicles which are irregularly parked. 3,600 summons in 2 weeks. The police use the street control camera, which takes pictures of double-parked cars, cars parked on sidewalks, or on pedestrian crossing lines. The data was made public by Commissioner Ignazio Agati, who coordinates the service arranged by Chief Serafino Di Peri. 1,700 summons the first week doubled the second week. They were mostly given along the main commercial streets of Palermo, like Viale Strasburgo, Via Ausonia, Via dei Nebrodi, etc. Of the 3,600 summons given in 2 weeks, most of them were for double-parked cars. 4 patrol cars were in action every day, and after the picture has been taken, the data gets sent to the headquarters office where the process of sending the summon to the owner's domicile begins. The municipal police chief's main aim is to fight against wild parking habits. Di Peri says the double-parked cars often turn the streets into funnels, creating traffic jams. Last year, 163,000 summons were given for irregular parking, about 3,000 more than 2010. This year, thanks to the street control cameras, the number is more than likely to increase. Cyclists in Palermo are requesting more safety. Over the last weekend, they were in Piazza Castelnuovo, as in many other Italian cities. The demonstration was organized by the association Salva Ciclisti, a politically independent, spontaneous folk movement, which asks politics to intervene in order to increase cyclist safety among the Italian streets, where 2,556 of them have died in the past 10 years. It all began from the Times initiative, after the death of an English journalist. 60 parliament members belonging to all political forces, excluding the Lega party, have undersigned a bill of 8 points, which could be converted into laws if approved by the Senate. 2 weeks after the campaign, another initiative, Caro Sindaco, began, a letter in which support for cycling ability and safety among the Italian streets is requested. Both initiatives also request the establishment of Zone 30, structures to help cycling in the city, the monitoring and reconsideration of dangerous streets and crossroads, and locally, more effort to contrast irregular parking. 5 months have gone by since the transition of Fiat to Dr. Motors, but the factory's gates are still closed in Termini Imerese, where the laid-off employees began to protest once again on April 30th. The motor vehicle company from Molise has yet to take office within the Sicilian factory. The protesters, together with their unions, began a city parade starting from Piazza della Vittoria in downtown Termini towards Piazza Duomo. Maurizio Bernava, Secretary of CISL Sicily, led the Arlemism on the uncertain and unstable situation in Termini Imerese, who denoted the lack of institutional awareness that Termini was to represent after the abandonment of Fiat. Bernava then pointed at the Italian government for having produced 600 unemployed without job certainty, protection, or pension. A response from Dr. Motors is expected. Stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break.
ctsnotizie.it, il tuo nuovo quotidiano online. Scorri con il mouse per leggere le ultime notizie dalla Sicilia e dal mondo. ctsnotizie.it, l'informazione a 360 gradi. Troverai anche i bandi di gara regionali, ricette, eventi, gossip, sport, spettacolo e tanto altro. ctsnotizie.it è anche portale video on demand, radio e TV in diretta. Potrai commentare i nostri articoli o inviarci i tuoi per essere insieme a noi protagonista. Noi l'informazione la intendiamo così. E tu?
Starting today, CTS spreads out. Besides Palermo and its province, our programs are also visible all over Sicily. And that's not all. CTS is visible on the satellite platform Italica TV, channels 26 and 27 in USA and Canada, and all over the world on our daily news website, ctsnotizie.it. CTS, to be the first. The financial police and police arrested 15 smugglers on the 1st of May in front of Mazzara del Vallo near Trapani. The Air and Naval Finance Police of Messina sighted a fishing boat full of immigrants, while on a tender boat, the refugees were taken to land. On board of the Egyptian fishing boat, there were about 70 people who had been suffering because of a full week of navigation. Among the passengers, 14 Egyptian crew members were arrested for favoring illegal immigration. Near the beach south of the lighthouse of Torretta, the powerful tender which was used to bring the immigrants on land was blocked and also found to be stolen. The skipper, a young Tunisian, was arrested. On land, the 17 immigrants who had just unboarded the boat were temporarily welcomed in Mazzara del Vallo Stadium, together with the ones who were found on the tender. The civil protection and police established a medical structure within the sports center where the immigrants could be checked on. Antonietta Giarrusso's homicide still remains a mystery. She was 65 years old, and she was the owner of a store in Via Dante where she sold wigs. The woman was stabbed 27 times with a pair of scissors last Monday. The 3 possible reasons behind the tragedy could be robbery, a passionate murder, or revenge. Mrs. Giarrusso wasn't rich, although a wig would cost a client 600 euros. A few days ago, she had asked her husband, a 90-year-old technician, for some money. 1,400 euros were found untouched on a shelf in the woman's store. It was the money the husband had given her the night before. He was in fact the person who discovered the murder. In the meantime, the police released the 50-year-old who was mistakenly taken in for the woman's murder. The homeless man had been indicated to the investigators by some other shop owners who had seen him in the area. He was well known in the neighborhood as mentally ill and was taken to a hospital for a mandatory checkup. Many people were heard, also relatives and friends of the victim. We are all awaiting the autopsy. The decree which postpones the activity of the 1,800 employees of GESIP to next June thanks to the resources allocated by the Sicilian region, is coming from Rome. Luisa Latella, Commissioner of the City of Palermo, and Prefect Umberto Postiglione have guaranteed so to the workers who occupied the election office in Piazza Giulio Cesare. Although reassured during a 2-hour meeting, the unions expressed worries because the decree, which still needs approval from the Finance Department of the state, has a few changes that disturb and make the employees who were on forced holiday anxious. The document, in fact, redefines the workers' tasks and takes away the competences related to the kennels, transportation for the disabled, and cemeteries. Giancarlo Nocilla, from the Autonomous Asia Union, says it's worrying. There's a catch. Maybe a project for an alarming company resizing. So there's a truce, and the last word hasn't been said. GESIP's employees have announced that if they don't go back to work, they will start protesting heavily again. Embrace the Politeama Theatre is the title of the last initiative of the Symphonic Sicilian Orchestra's employees and the main Italian unions to protest against the money cut approved by the regional financial laws, which can cause the bankruptcy of the historical orchestra. 2 nights ago, the employees and the followers of the symphonic orchestra paraded around Piazza Ruggero VII with torches, ideally hugging the theatre, which is not only the symbol of the symphonic orchestra, but also of the people of Palermo, who love symphonic music. In the morning, the unions discussed about the global economical crisis and the cultural field, the bad situation of the theatres of Palermo, and the uncertain future of the employees. Starting today, CTS spreads out. Besides Palermo and its province, our programs are also visible all over Sicily. And that's not all. CTS is visible on the satellite platform Italica TV, channels 26 and 27 in USA and Canada, and all over the world on our daily news website, ctsnotizie.it. CTS, to be the first. And that's all for this week's news. For more details, please visit our website, ctsnotizie.it. Thanks for joining us. Keep safe and see you next Sunday.